the volume.
Turn up the volume.
You've arrived at the destination for all things Kentucky. This is the Bleed Blue Network Podcast.
Hey there, BBN. Welcome back to another episode of the BBN Ladies Unleashed. It's your girl, Salena, here with Michelle. Michelle, how are you?
I'm excited. The last snow lasted mercifully brief, and I didn't have to be out in it, so I'm okay with that. I'm ready for something that isn't snow or ice.
You do know we're getting more snow, right, next week?
Yeah. I just don't pop my bubble here.
Sorry, my bad. I won't do that again.
Yeah, like I said, I have not done a snow rant, and I won't, because I have rants that are far more meaningful and purposeful than the snow thing.
We are always here for Michelle rants.
Oh,
always.
You're going to love
Always.
tonight's when we get to it, but we'll talk about fun things. Maybe not fun things. We'll talk about other things.
Yeah. So speaking of the not fun things, let's get this out of the way. The girls had a game tonight. They played a game on the court, and
you can call it that.
That's the definition, I suppose, but it wasn't very pretty. And I like to say, as I said in the group chat, this is hey, welcome to the upper echelon of the SEC type of game. Hey, this is where you need to be if you want to be competitive, actually competitive. Like, this is like your goal.
The real big concern for me, I can take where we have a night where we miss a lot of shots. We did that tonight. I can take a night when Claire Strike goes scoreless. Okay, she did that tonight. I can take Georgia Amore having a bad night, which she did that tonight. Having all three on the same night's never going to do well. But the bigger problem of all of that, and it's been a problem all season, and I'm afraid it's going to continue to bite us, is the lack of physicality.
Yes.
And I'm just not sure why that is. It's like they've got the heart, they've got the want to, but when it comes down to being physical, it's just like almost non-existent. And I don't think you can fix it at this point.
Yeah, I would say that's a big concern, and I think I talked about that. Maybe our first episode, I said, I was concerned about it because they don't, especially our big girls, especially both Clara's. Now Tiana's pretty physical. She can be. She can be, but the other ones they prefer a fadeaway or a jumper to instead of going inside and actually banging around. But when you are playing teams like Texas, South Carolina, LSU, they're physical. Like, they will get you out of their way. And that is part of the problem tonight, is we could not rebound very well. We couldn't keep it off the boards. The first shot defense was fine. It was rebounding and second chance points was a problem. And they had that issue was it Ole Miss as well?
Miss, yeah.
They had that issue at Ole Miss. Ole Miss had 27 offensive rebounds, which you're never going to win a game that way, ever. So, and I don't think that is fixable this year, or even with this current roster construction, because this roster construction does not have...
Just doesn't have those bangers.
They don't have a physical player like that will go in and do that. So yeah, I don't. That's going to be a concern moving forward. The rest of the SEC, like the slate, and then as well as the tournament and like NCAA, like it's an issue.
Well, on the flip side, Coach Brooks didn't have a lot of time to construct a roster.
This is true,
and I think moving forward, he's a bright man. And he's an excellent coach. And I've no doubt he's very aware of what their weaknesses are. Mm-hmm. And I would say that will be addressed in future seasons. But all in all, what they have done so far this year has far exceeded expectations. It's far exceeded the last two seasons. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of hard to be big mad at them. Because they're such a great group of ladies, I just want more for them. I want more for Georgia Amore. I mean, I want more. And
no, and I agree with you. But we hold the boys to the same standards as in, hey, you have to be more physical. We have all year. That's just being a part of the SEC in general, though. Like it's just a much more physical league compared to every other league. I feel like
but we do have a couple of guys that aren't afraid to mix it up with anybody. I'm not going to name names like Oway, but
Brandon Garrison. Hello.
I mean, I don't think we need to name that but we've got some of those, and we've got 3-point shooters. We also have something that the ladies don't, and that is a injury bug that keeps rearing its ugly head.
Well, no, they're missing a couple starters though for injuries. I guess maybe or potential starters.
Yeah, I guess ours seem more visible. The men.
That's true because it's all of our point guards for some reason. Every one of them.
Yeah, let's just not have a point guard play.
Yeah, no, like you said, the girls have far exceeded expectations this year. But again, this game was their first game against the upper echelon of the SEC. I mean, Texas just beat South Carolina, and South Carolina is the standard in the SEC. Like that, they are the gold standard for the SEC. And this was a kind of a good test to see where they are, where they need to be. And I have no doubt that Brooks will fix the issues. And I can't see Strack not scoring and Georgia Amore having a bad shooting night or bad night in general, and us missing a ton of threes happening that often anymore. Like it's going to happen. One of those three will happen, but I can't see all three of those happening at the same time.
Yeah, this was a bad unicorn game. But if we want to talk about any silver linings about tonight, and you do have to search. But there was one, I considered it to be a beautiful silver lining because this was one of the Play for Pat games. And of course, breast cancer awareness being one of the things. And to see Coach Brooks' wife get called out because everybody filled out cards and when they came into the game, who were they fighting for with breast cancer? And she got to ring the bell. She is officially cancer-free. So...
Oh, that's so amazing.
That's so I think, it makes the rest of the stuff seem what it is, which is not all that big a deal when you compare it to real life. Kind of trivial when you think about that. Exactly.
Think about how large that is. It's kind of trivial in all respects. Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, I saw them at half court. And that was super sweet.
It really was. It was just like I said, anytime that I've had several friends that have, at least for now, won that battle. But it's a tough one to watch. And especially, I think in her case, when you've got a husband with a high profile job and especially a great time consumer for him and still do that's pretty amazing. I think everybody's fight is amazing, but I just wanted to point that out, ring the bell for her, and yay.
Yeah, we love that. We love that. So the girls are back in action Sunday at 2 p.m. and Georgia will be in town for that one. And then the 20th, they are away, but then 23rd, LSU comes to town 23rd. That's a big game. That's a really big game. That's another good test for us to kind of see where we are overall. I don't think LSU is as big or as physical as Texas, but they're still really solid, really, really solid. So that'll be a good barometer.
And I suspect that Coach Brooks is going to show them some film. And do you want to be seen as weak? Do you really want your opponent to think they can do what they want to do? And while it might not fix the physicality issues, I say that we'll see an improvement.
Yeah.
Because, kind of like when I used to play golf all the time, and You go up and you would have like a 2-foot putt. No way you could miss this putt because it's only 2 feet. And
Those are the ones that I always miss, though.
and you go up and you just kind of halfway swat at it because you know it's going in the hole and it misses. And you're
I miss
like,
those every time.
and you're just like, are you kidding? So you go up to the next hole and you got this par 4 that's like impossible to hit a good drive and you smoke one. I mean, smoke, because I've done that several times because I always would miss the putts on number 3 and I've come to number 4 and you're 60 yards from the green with your tee shot. And I had a playing partner who often said, well, that was a fine case of red ass, wasn't it? I was like, well, at least we had a good case of something because it sure wasn't putting.
Hey,
So
there's always good things somewhere.
So maybe that they'll get a good case of the red ass.
Hey, I'm here for it. I hope so. But girls, we're cheering you on still support you 100%. Just this is a learning test here for you guys. So we'll just
the number of games they have sold out this season is just really, really exciting. I'm happy for them.
I love it so much. They deserve all the support in the world, like the guys do, and I love that there are so many sold out games.
And it's nothing new because with the practice facility being hooked right up there to Memorial, it is not unheard of for some of the guys to pop in for the women's games. But they've been doing it every game. Somebody like Creasa was there tonight, I believe. There's always somebody there watching, and I think that's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
So
I love seeing the support like that from everybody. Yeah,
I'm still waiting for the men's swim team to make an appearance. I don't know if
that was that happened to the gymnastics team where they got was it Missouri? The men's swim team, I think, was behind the beam, and they were in their little Speedos and dancing around behind the beam.
And I'm not a soccer person at all. I mean, I've tried to like it. I've really tried to like it. But any sport that can't decide exactly how much time you should play, and you don't know how much time there is to play until you're out of what the regulation time is. Oh, we're adding 7 minutes. No, I'm sorry. That just doesn't appeal to me. But I did go to watch a soccer match. This was back in maybe 2016, I'm thinking.
Okay. So it's been a minute.
Yeah, it has been. And if you went to the game, you got actually buying a season ticket was maybe $2 more than buying one ticket, but you got a free scarf. And it was a beautiful UK scarf, which I have it hanging as decoration as actually using it. But it was actually against Louisville. So I'm like, okay, yeah, this is a Louisville, Kentucky thing. So that'd be cool to watch. And sure enough, about 5 minutes into the match, there comes the men's swim team, clad in their Speedos, and they're down at... I was like, well, now that's new and different. I dare them to show up to a November football game.
Bring it on, boys. Yeah. Bring it on.
Just keep it on. I mean, no offense, just keep it on.
Don't get too risky for that sideline. No, that's funny. That's really funny.
Showing up wearing banana hammocks. I mean, really.
Oh my God. Yeah, hold on.
Well, I mean, that's basically what they are.
Oh God, I can't. I'm crying. Oh Lord. Okay. Oh Lord. Okay. You know what? That's a great segue because we're laughing in a great mood. So let's just yeet on over here to the men's team and the beatdown and the sweep that we put on UT. Let's talk about that because that was beautiful.
It was interesting that we could somehow find a way to be out rebounded again.
You know what? I think it's just a thing with this team. It's just a thing.
And that's fine because if you're going to be out rebounded, at least beat them on 3-point shots by 12 of 24 versus 3 of 18, which Tennessee obviously learned nothing from the first time we played them.
No. They did
Let's
not.
just fire up 3 after 3 after 3 after 3 and miss it and miss it and miss it.
I think that's also the defensive scheme. I mean, if Pope was like, do not go outside the 3-point line unless it's on Chaz Lanier. Everybody else, or that Milicic guy, I guess. But everybody else,
and Lanier,
the inside.
0 for 7. I mean, I shouldn't rejoice at another player's futility, but if they're Tennessee or Louisville, I will always, always rejoice.
Yeah, he's not living up to the Dalton Connect expectations. That's for sure. Like that's what he was brought in for, and he's not quite there. But I will say this though, Tennessee they played well in the next 2 games after we beat them in Knoxville, and then
we brought them back to reality.
We did. We're just a really bad matchup for them.
And of course, the Tennessee fans, you get the typical, in corrupt arena or RIP
Yo, listen,
arena.
I'm so sick of that.
I know.
They tripled our free throws. Like, I think, like, that's not even a thing. And it's like, I've heard, oh, well, there's 2 different styles of basketball. No, we were driving the ball to the basket actively and not getting the fouls called. Like,
I think I even tweeted about that at one point, the selective foul calling. I mean, I remember one play early. Andrew Carr, he wasn't just fouled, he was mugged. Mm-hmm. And then after he was mugged, then he was fouled again. And then he was mugged a second time, spun around on his feet.
Serial mugging over here.
I think you got one of the Tennessee players actually has his arm and pulls him around. And Andrew's looking at the ref like, hello. And he finally loses the ball, and then Tennessee goes down. No one touches the player, and it's a foul.
That foul they called on Brandon Garrison and Zakai Ziegler. Yo, listen, I don't know what phantom or ghost jumped up and bit that referee, but like there was a foot of space between BG and Zakai when they called that foul. I was like, what? It was that, if that is the definition of anticipation foul calling.
He was expecting.
He was expecting it, and he just blew it and was like, oh, well, shit.
Yeah. Oh, well. They'll get over it. And I'm sick to death of that. And anybody saying, like I said, that corrupt arena. Have you ever looked at the calls we don't get in RUP?
We do not have a home court advantage at all.
The advantage we have in RUP is the fans. The fans can pretty much will the team to a lot of things. They are, but it has nothing to do with officiating. We don't get the benefit of the doubt on maybe 10% of the calls. When the opponents, university, are getting 90% of the 50-50s.
At least. At least.
So, but to me, one of the greatest things, and what's this guy's name? I don't know. I see him on Twitter every time Tennessee does something like really crappy, like, lose to Kentucky again. And his tweet.
Is it the McVall guy or the Rural Vol?
Might be the McVall.
One of those two. They crash out every time.
The one that posted that I wouldn't be all that concerned about this. I mean, we beat them. Lately, we beat them all the time.
Oh, do you know your own records? Because that is
he has a webpage, and he has their records posted. The all-time record, 78 to 950. I don't know. And then the last 10 games, 3-7. Okay. I'm guessing math was not his best subject. Because if you beat somebody most of the time, that has to be more than half.
I wonder if he's trying to add in all the sports to make it sound better. Like football, maybe, and baseball, maybe.
They like to throw in the baseball thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then they'll throw in the little jabs about, Kentucky is washed up. They used to be good, not anymore. And I'm like, well, you know what you just said? You got beat down twice in a month by a has-been crappy team. How does that make you feel better? It goes back to the overrated stuff. I mean, all he did was take away, admit you got beat by a better team and life will continue. But you can't do that. No, because you're a Tennessee fan.
Life ends, okay? Life is over temporarily whenever that happens. But you know what? I'm going to focus on, instead of the Tennessee fans and their psychotic behavior, I'm going to focus on the boys because this was defensively a really good game. And even with Robinson being out, also, by the way, okay, this is my own little mini rant here. Whenever we have a player out and the fans like, oh, it's down, we're gonna lose, it's automatic losing. I'm like, yo, how many times has this team proven that we can win a game with players out, and big games at that? Like, it's done, we're losing. Hello? Why is that the automatic default? Like, that is the automatic default. Oh, we're losing. Like, I wasn't worried, and I posted the text proof. I was not worried whatsoever. I was like, no, this is fine. We got this game. Like, it's insane to me that as soon as a player's like, oh, it's out, it's like, oh, we're done. That's it. They just write it off, and I was like, why do we do that? Why? What's the point?
And that was what everything was before the last game against Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
All these people, and as a matter of fact, that was my rant that week about all the people that weren't even going to watch the game, because what's the point?
Right. It's like, why do y'all do that for?
Okay, well, instead of why watch it, how about let's just not even play it, since you already know how it's going to end.
You already wrote it off. We're just going to cancel for the game. That's fine. Yeah, just go ahead and cancel. That's fine.
I mean, like, it's insane. And the really good thing about this, we had Robinson out. Phew, boy, I was having a tough time. Robinson's a really tricky name to come up with. But they were handling that fine. But when Butler went down with 8.5 to go, the one thing that I was encouraged by, now they said he probably jacked his shoulder. It seemed to me it was more of an elbow thing, because that's what seemed to hit the floor was the elbow, although I guess that could jar the shoulder.
Yeah, it said it was a re-aggravation of his shoulder.
And so. I would suspect that keeping him out was probably more precautionary. I think if it had gotten really down to brass tacks, he would have found a way to, if he needed to play the last 2 minutes, he would have found a way to play.
He'd have played one-handed. I know. Yeah, he would have.
And we didn't have to do that because we handled it just fine otherwise.
We did.
And I'm hopeful that we have him back for other games. I think we will, because Butler just doesn't let things get him down. But that's the whole thing. He goes out. Here we are again. Point
guards. Yeah. No point guards. Literally like Travis Perry. That's it. That's what we know with point guards.
And I'm telling you, that is probably one of the best things that has happened to this team this year, is having to play multiple games without actual point guards. Because when it comes to the tournament, you get an injury in the middle of a game. We've seen this. We know how to deal with this. We have a plan.
We're used to this. This has been half our season.
Yeah.
Like, so we're used to that.
And for all you people that are the Debbie Downers, just go somewhere else. Like go join a Vol Twitter page or something where just
go knitting in the grass. Go touch some grass, because y'all
try on banana hammocks for the summer. I don't care.
And I will say this too, because J-Rob literally proved the point that Heather and I made last week on the podcast about these players. So did Ansley. About the players seeing stuff. Y'all, even if you do not at them, they see them. Stop running your damn mouth. J-Rob's body language was not bad. Okay, if anything, he's like every other player that was mad that he had a Sauda game. On the sidelines, he was going nuts.
And
the entire game.
And here's the thing that really, and Heather's rant last week was so on point. But the thing that got me more than anything else, and I'm not going to name names, although I could, but I won't because I'm a better person than that, was the person that made the initial tweet. Body language looks concerned, not very good, blah, blah.
Do me do it? I'll call it out. I don't care.
The media person who said,
Yeah,
it doesn't
hey,
look
Vot, shut your mouth. Stop it. Stop it right now.
I mean, I'm sorry, but he came across as desperate for clicks.
Well, that's usually what it is. But, you know what's what it is. I don't care. It's what it is. It's fine. It's what it is.
And I was like, your point, as a media person, if I had felt compelled to comment on that, which I would not, but if I had, it would have been like, well, I don't think he was posing for a camera, first of all. And second, I don't know that during warm-ups, you have a body language. You know what I mean?
Like, that was for clicks. And then, of course, people got into it. And then, of course, J-Rob saw it and posted
stay in your lane.
What he posted. And then, it's like, guys, this is the reason. This is why people say, like, shut your mouth and stop. Like, and that the tweet was ridiculous because they clearly didn't watch the rest of the game where J-Rob was celebrating and so happy the entire time. Like, he was hugging the assistant coaches because he was celebrating so much, right? Like,
and this is somebody who doesn't need negativity thrown on him. We're celebrating how far he has grown,
right?
Emotionally, and oh my gosh, it just
makes me very angry, angry,
yes.
Very angry. Because so media people, I don't care if you need clicks. Don't be doing that crap. Don't be doing that. That is,
and it's sad because
behavior.
I always had so much respect years ago for his work.
Keyword years ago.
Yeah. Way back in the Advocate Messenger days, which has been a long, long, long time. But I mean, that was one of the columns I never missed. And I just it just screams laziness as a reporter. I didn't say that.
No, we did. That's fine. That's fine. And if there's a problem, then please feel free to
contact
me.
You know how to contact me.
Like, if you get a problem, just feel free to come talk to me. I don't care. It's fine. I'll tell you. I don't care. Anyways, this took a spicy edge here. Hello.
I mean, it was just because it was there.
It made a big splash because a player found it, and that made the splash. Because it never should have been put on there, and a player never should have felt like they had to respond to something that was so untrue. That's the issue.
Yeah.
Like, that's the entire problem. But I'm also going to shout out Kobe Brea because he sort of took over at the end of the game, and whenever both point guards were down, two beautiful step back threes, that sick pass to Owe. Like, he did his thing. He did his thing.
And we can't go any further. I mean, I can't believe we've gone this far.
I know. I was saving the best for last.
Oh, well, then you're saving it for the last. Then I'm going to give my regular shout out to Owe, which, if I'm not mistaken, is he not the only player that is double digits in every game?
In the SEC, yes, ma'am. He sure is. The only player. Mr. Consistent himself.
And I know you're like, oh, that block was sick. And the block was sick. But that dunk in the last minute and a half, that's what brought the house down. And almost the rim, just saying. But he's one of those that his enthusiasm is infectious. And he has one speed, and that's 90 miles an hour. Sometimes it gets him in trouble. You know, that stuff has sometimes led to some unfortunate turnovers in some games. But for the most part, I'll take that. I'll take the energy with some turnovers rather than a lackadaisical safe player. But now we can get to the best thing. I know you want to get to the best thing. We all want to get to the best thing.
Kentucky boys, what's up? Kentucky boys, what is up?
You know,
Travis Perry, Trent Noah, y'all did the damn thing.
And the first podcast we did, you and I talked about, like, people were like, well, why did we sign them? Why are they here? Yada, da,
This is why. This is why, right here.
And we both said at that time, they're going to come into it.
Yep.
And I think it's still the case that Perry is maybe a step or two behind Noah.
He
But
is.
he was 4 steps behind him earlier.
Yes.
He's catching up. And the thing is Noah's continuing to get better. So that means Perry is really getting better because he's closing that gap. Of course, now then you got the players that, of course, that we're going to lose. And then it's, well, how come they don't leave Noah and Perry in there more? The same people. Why is Noah and Perry on the floor? Which I said, if you want the answer to this, you're not the coach, and we know why.
Listen, I agree with you 1,000% that Travis catching up, and I think the flash of that was when he didn't settle for a 3 when he drove the ball, and he was just hooping. He didn't think about it. He let it come to him, and I was like, he's getting it. Like, he's getting it finally to where he's not rushing. He's not trying too hard.
Just go out and do what you do.
He was just doing what he does, and that was like the aha moment for me. He's like, okay, now he's getting it. But man, Trent Noah, listen, that kid, he is going to be so freaking good.
No fear. No, zero. Zero fear.
None. Like, he doesn't care who you are, what the name is on your jersey. He nothing. Like, Mountain Mamba is Mountain Mamba for a reason.
I kind of like Holler Baller.
He doesn't, though, so... He prefers Mountain Mamba, so that's what
he can prefer that all he wants. I like Holler Baller. But I'm on the Banana Hammock theme tonight, so We have
a theme running with you. But yeah, no, he hustles every play. He does not care if you're in his face. He'll shoot the ball. He'll go after the rebounds. His defense is getting so much better.
And can we talk about that early in the season, even in games where we had significant leads, they weren't getting a lot of time on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
And neither one of them ever said a word about it. They didn't complain.
Right.
They didn't have bad body language for all those fans that seem to know who has bad body language, but they never did. So,
well, yeah,
that maintaining that positivity.
Mm-hmm.
And just doing what they need to do. It's paying off. And they are going to have, as you said, they're going to have spectacular careers.
Oh my God, they're going to be so good. Mark Pope is so excited he's so excited for them. And I can't, let them both get another year of conditioning under their belt, right? To kind of, work on the body some more. And get their lateral quickness up, and they're going to be so good. They're going to be so freaking good.
And we talk about Pope. Did you hear Kobe? Oh my gosh. I was ready to cry when he went. You could have gone to all these other places, and he said, I would tell anybody, if you've got a choice, you could go to Kansas, or you could go to Duke, or you could go here. Why wouldn't you come to Kentucky? Because Mark Pope is the greatest coach you'll ever play for, and he is a great human being. And it was just like, that's what you want to hear. That is exactly. Not to mention, he's smart. He's a great coach. He's very, very smart and has a fabulous sense of humor, because there was actually a national media person, and they weren't doing this tongue-in-cheek like the guy at the press conference was. They were talking about that the SEC was supposed to be this big, strong conference, but once they got into conference play, the overall league record was, like 82 and 82.
But that's every conference, though, because every conference will be 500. Because
what I'm saying is that the national reporter apparently didn't understand how stupid he was, because he thought
he backtracked real hard.
Yeah, he thought this was a real thing. They're a 500 conference in conference play. Yes, they are.
Every conference is going to be 500. It doesn't matter.
But when they asked Pope, they said, we heard there was a concern about the SEC being like 83 and 83, and Pope he's almost choking on his Diet Coke while he's drinking it. And he went, yeah, I'm pretty disappointed, because I thought our league was better than that. And that's something we need to work on. You tell them, Pope. I mean, it was just like, they find there's some really stupid people out there that have media credentials. It just blows my mind. Not the one who asked the question today, but previous. It just was hilarious.
No, but yeah, it's funny. I don't know.
It's
And
almost sad. I mean, it's sad, but it's so sad it's funny because somebody actually believed that, and I hope somebody corrected them. But we did not make mention, and we don't have to make a whole lot of mention, but I think we should make some mention.
Okay.
Simply because it was one of those games we actually won the rebounding battle, and we totally thrashed them on assists. That was the South Carolina game.
Yeah.
And South Carolina, we had a good lead, and then here comes South Carolina, creeping back. I think they got within 9, maybe 7 even. And as soon as they did, and a friend of mine sends me a text like, "What are they doing?" And I said, "Just hang on." And literally, less than 2 minutes later, we were up 22. Now, even their coach said that. He goes, "Hey, we closed the gap." He said, then all of a sudden, he goes, "I blinked and we were down 20. How did that happen?"
Yeah. This team's ability to score so fast, it's wild. Like it's crazy how quickly we can score. It's
one thing I don't miss seeing on Twitter that we saw, oh gosh, for the last 8 years, probably 7 million times. Why do we have to slow it down? Why are you slowing it down when we're ahead? You got to quit slowing it down the play. We don't have that issue.
No, we don't have that issue. We are all gas, no brakes around here.
Sometimes I'm like, hey, yo, slow it down just a touch.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit. But yeah, no, I'm happy we swept Tennessee. Obviously, that made me the happiest person in the world right there. I was like, haha. And I love the fact that the boys figured it out. J-Rob goes out, Butler gets hurt and goes out. They figured it out. They still won. And they even because Tennessee actually took the lead back with 2.5 minutes to go. They were ahead.
Yeah.
And the guys were like, no, this ain't happening. And
Not in our
they
house.
just took over. Kobe Bryant did Kobe Bryant things, which is what we need him to do. And Owe did his thing, and it was, I think, a 10, 11 point win, I believe. So,
and it's important to point out that Pope is undefeated against Tennessee, going back to his playing days.
Yes,
he's never lost to them. So, and that's another thing that seemed to really upset the Tennessee fans. They got a first-year coach. No, they've got somebody who's coaching their first year at Kentucky.
Yes, there's
he's
big
not
difference.
A first-year coach, and he's not a first-time anything when it comes to beating your sorry orange butts. Just saying.
Yes, there we go. But the guys go to Texas, and play at Texas this week.
I believe so. Yes.
Yep, they're at Texas on Saturday. The game starts at 8 p.m. So I think I'm curious about that one. I'm curious how we're gonna play on the road. And I'm curious on the injuries and who's going to be out, who's not going to be out, because I think that will change things being on the road. I will say the guys typically have responded pretty well on the road for the most part. But who knows, right? It's just one of those things.
And we don't know, I know Robinson is kind of we'll see what happens, and Butler is we'll see what happens. I haven't heard any meaningful updates on Creasa yet.
That's a mystery, because I feel like it's one of those things where I don't know if they're waiting for an NCAA ruling on his medical red shirt.
Yeah, that's what I have.
Yeah.
Which, if we got him back next year,
I would be so happy to have him next year. 1,000%.
Yeah.
I have seen people I don't want him. Tell him to leave. What? Why?
Well, I don't want you around either, so why don't you leave?
That logic makes sense to me. Why wouldn't you want a guy who has started so many games, who has been like, why would you not want that experience? Not to mention the energy off the bench, even on your team. Like that math don't math. Like it doesn't.
Exactly.
There's no logical sense to that way of thinking. Um, so no, if he gets to come back next year, I will be so freaking happy because I feel like we got cheated out of him this year. Unfortunately, with his energy and his enthusiasm and his antics, and like we got cheated a little bit from Kerr, and that makes me very sad. So I would love to have him back next year.
And I agree 100%. That's as long as he has been cleared to cheer. I know, because a couple of weeks ago they were saying he was working out lightly, and I got encouraged, and then I heard all the discussion about potential medical red shirt, and I was like, that actually makes sense because you want to bring him back, and then you see how you can win all the multiple ways.
Throwing him
So
back in there too, yeah.
I think he would probably be more at risk of aggravating an injury or getting a new one. It's and I can only speak. I'm not an athlete. I never was much of an athlete. I mean, I played softball, played golf, whatever. But I know that back in 2012, when I had one golf shot and tore 3 meniscus with one golf shot. And yeah, because my doctor, I had 3 knee surgeries prior on my right knee from damage I had done for 10 years of softball. And to the point that my doctor said, you can't play softball, you can't play basketball, you can't play football, you can't play volleyball. And he went through all these things. I said, what can I do? He says, take up golf. And I went, that's the dumbest game in the history of games. And
here we are.
And then 3 years later, I took up golf and really got obsessed with it. And so I was in a tournament, and my second shot of the day, the first day it was a 2-day tournament, second shot, and I was going toward a green, and I hear this crack, but because I was trying to avoid a tree, so I was pretty sure I'd hit the tree. But then my ball dropped down 6 inches off the green. I went, well, that got a good bounce. And I realized I'm sitting in the grass. Like, why am I sitting in the grass? I don't usually do that after a shot. And I was paired with a high school girl. She's a really, really good girl. I said, what kind of bounce I got off that tree? She said, you didn't hit the tree. And I went, oh. I said, well, don't tell anybody. I fell down taking the shot, and then I jumped up, and then I realized that I had fallen down because that crack I heard was in my knee. I did finish that round. I had ice, and I shot 105 because I couldn't put weight on my left foot, but I came bandaged up the next day, and I shot an 88, but I finally found out I had 3 meniscus tears in one knee. I'm proud of that. I think that's a really great accomplishment. But coming back from that, I went, and I did my rehab and all that stuff. And really, a meniscus tear is not that big of a deal in the grand scheme of knee injuries. But when you come back and you realize that you just did a normal thing and did that kind of damage, it's really hard to do that normal thing again without in the back of your head, am I gonna tear up my knee again? Right. Is it going to happen because I did this? And with the basketball players, I think that's got to be 100 times more in the front of their mind. If I do this, if I cut this way, if I do that, am I going to get a new injury? And the fact that players are able to get that out of their head, I think, is one of their that's one of their superpowers in my book. So,
no, I would agree with you. Yeah, I would agree. Yeah, that's, I mean, I played for years, and I have really crappy ankles. Like I had custom braces, and I still rolled these things all the time. Like it was just bad. And it did sort of like be one of those things where you're like, oh God, I'm gonna land wrong again. And it was like kind of always in your head a little bit, just because you're like, oh God, here we go again. Like, like my senior year, I tore my meniscus in my knee, and I sprained my ankle the same year. I never got my knee fixed because I didn't want to set out.
I would like to point out I have left no meniscus untorn. Just
yeah, I actually refused to get surgery and fix it because I didn't want to miss any time. Probably a bad idea now because my knee is busted now, but it's fine. it was, but yeah, that kind of stuff is always kind of stays in your head, and it's something that you just kind of have to play and deal with. But also, I think they probably have really good psychologists to help them with that too.
They have to.
So, those types of things.
Since we're on this topic, that
Okay.
leads me into this week's rant.
It's Michelle's rant of the week. Yay!
Yes.
I need to put like applause noises in here for this. That's what I need.
Well, best we can do.
All right, lay it on us. Let's hear it.
Okay. We're talking about injuries. Lamont Butler came back, some would say unexpectedly, because Pope kept saying, I don't know. And Big Blue Nation, that little sect over there, the ones that, every game is lost and they know everything. And I knew it was coming. I mean, I had Jared Vanderbilt flashbacks, but I knew it was coming. He's not going to play another game all year. Why are they being so secretive? How come they don't talk about his injury? Well, it's just done. He's done. And then my favorite. Well, I've been hearing he had a problem with academics. Oh, who you been hearing it from? The voices in your head? This is a guy that's had a 3.8 career academic average. It's not academics, dude. Shut your trap. And then you got the good people who try to be supportive and say, oh, well, they can't say anything because of HIPAA. Well, yes and no. Most of those people that say that also don't know the acronym. They'll go HIPPA, HIPAA. No, it's not that. It's HIPAA, Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act. Okay? It's HIPAA, not HIPAA. Anyway, HIPAA is not what prevents Mark Pope from sharing injury information. It would prevent any of his physicians from sharing his injury information. And there are certain university employees, if they are involved in any way with the healthcare, it would prevent them. But the most important reason that he's not sharing the information is it's none of your business. None of your stinking business. It doesn't matter. You knowing what the injury is changes your life not one bit. Got it? He's got every right. And maybe Lamont, if he wanted to talk about his injury, he's free to speak openly about his injury. Maybe, just maybe, you don't talk about the severity of the injury or lack of severity. Why would you want upcoming opponents to know how much of a chance they have of facing you? Tennessee was not expecting him until after the day before he was questionable.
Right.
And then the day of it, probably game time decision. We don't know.
Right.
And then there he is. So much for your theory. He won't play another game all year, just like Jared Vanderbilt, who, by the way, after his season did have to have surgery. So everybody said he was faking the injury because he was afraid of his NBA stock declining. And then, like I said, once again, the whole academics thing, get a new song and dance. If you're going to say it's an academic issue, then by gosh, at least do your homework, because obviously he did his. Do your homework and know what his academic standing is. I cannot emphasize this enough. It's none of your business. None. Zero zip, not a zilch. So if they're injured, they're injured.
Yep.
If they can play again, they play again. If they can't play again, they can't play again. But they're not keeping that information from you just to tick you off.
Right.
They have their reasons, which again, those reasons are none of your business.
Mind your business, people. Mind your business.
Yeah. So just shut your trap. Don't post to the players. Don't post things about the players. And shut up. It's none of your business.
It all comes full circle to just keep your mouth shut.
Yeah. Keep your fingers in, keep your hands in your pockets and don't tweet. Especially those of you living in mama's basements.
I will also say that the injuries this year, people are like, oh my God, we need more training staff. We need more training staff. Like the training staff is terrible. And I'm like, guys, these are injuries that like aren't preventable. Like we couldn't, how are we supposed to know that Kerr would take a step and break his foot? Like that's a freak accident. Butler
how do trainers prevent players from falling?
Like Butler hurt his shoulder in a game blocking a shot. Like, and shoulder injuries suck. Like they suck. I had shoulder surgery, worst surgery and recovery ever. Like it's crap. And then Robinson literally ran into Butler in practice. Like these are not, we don't have a ton of knee injuries or ankle injuries. It's not a problem. It's just these are freak accidents that are happening because these kids are playing a very physical, fast-paced sport against other grown men. Like this is not a, oh no, our ankles keep rolling and no, this is, hey, we're just going 90 miles an hour and we're just smacking to each other.
And if we want to talk about trainers, why don't we look at possibly the stamina and we don't see them tiring out at games. Well, if you had bad trainers, we wouldn't be able to do that. Just saying. They'd be gassed all the time. Especially those that are playing 28 to 35 minutes every game.
Yep.
But they're still able to play 28, 35 minutes every game.
They're still going. There's still plenty of energy. Like their conditioning is good. That's not a problem. These are just freak accidents.
So here's a thought. If you really want more information on the injuries, then I would suggest go to school, get your academic standing up, then go to medical school, and then do an internship and then a residency, and then maybe apply for a job at UK Healthcare. And maybe then you'll get to treat the player, but you can't tell anybody what you treated them for because of HIPAA.
Okay, listen. All right.
I told you, I've been preparing this rant.
She is fired up about this.
I am.
This has been stewing a little bit. This has been sitting there in the chest. Oh my God.
I could have had a rant Thursday night, but it would last Thursday, but that would have been about getting my new phone and how Walmart screwed me up. But I got my phone, but it was a really crappy day, so I didn't know what time y'all were recording. So I missed out on the boat. But this was much better this week.
Oh my goodness. I love it. Okay. So, the men play at Texas on Saturday at 8:00, 8 p.m. Eastern tip-off time. What is your score prediction for that one, Michelle?
Well, let's see. We've been staying below the magical 100 bar for a bit.
Mm-hmm.
At Texas.
Mm-hmm. Now keep in mind, Texas, let me see. So they just lost to Vandy.
So they might have a little bit of red ass going on.
They might. But Alabama beat them 103-80. So
I tend to go more for the 84-73 as a final.
Okay. It seems to be pretty on there. That's kind of their average. They're kind of up and down, but they score somewhere in there. Every game. It's close to that. What am I feeling? I'm gonna do 89. Oh no, hold on. Let me see. I don't know. Our defense has got so much better though, these couple of games. Defense is doing the thing. I'm gonna do 89-77.
Okay, I'm cool with that.
We
both have close to the same margin.
I think I don't know if they can guard our offense if we're hitting stuff. You know what I mean? Like I don't know if they can.
It really does all come down to how what the other team is doing in terms of that. Like I said, I know that we can score, but I would like to think that we're going to score more if we get in their heads early. That's what I would like.
We wanted to give a shout out to some other sports that are taking place this weekend. So tomorrow, the Lady Gym Cats gymnastics team, they have a home meet tomorrow. It is at Memorial, I believe.
It is. It's against Temple, which I think is the last of their non-conference meets.
Mm-hmm.
And the ladies, while their record doesn't look great, they have been putting up over 197 for their scores, which, it was just a few years ago. Getting to 197 was like, if we could just get to 197. And
Right.
we're consistently putting up over 197, but then you're losing by 0.2 of a point to a top 5 team. So
Yeah. Program records too. Like I feel like they keep setting program records every time they go out because
yeah,
they're scoring.
their road score records they keep breaking that.
Yeah.
And Isabella Magnelli, she just got I
Oh
think
yeah, she got
specialist of the week.
yep for what beam
And
and
for vault.
vault. Yeah,
Yeah.
beam and vault. That's right, because she was like 9.95, I think, on both of those.
Which
She is
she's been doing
consistent.
that on beam most of the year.
Mhm.
And Kentucky has historically, at least I say historically, 5 years being the history I'm referring to, really strong on beam, which is unusual for most programs.
Yes.
And we typically are, of all things, weak on vault. But we've gotten that shored up. It seems like vault has been another strong thing for us this year. We don't really have a weakness per se. We just don't have Raina Worley and Bailey Bund.
Right.
That pesky graduation kind of thing. Oh, well.
The whole senior thing kind of stinks. And then baseball is also kicking off
Tomorrow.
this weekend, tomorrow. So we all know how exciting that was last season.
We lost a ton of players, but we've got some really exciting fresh blood coming in. And my man, Devin Burks, the catcher, he's back. He's just, I like his mom started following me on Twitter.
Oh,
my man. So it'll be interesting. I think we picked up some really good pitching. We'll see how good that pans out. We had to replace our entire outfield.
Yeah.
And pretty much our entire infield. I mean, we had some strong players there, but baseball starting means one thing that makes you not happy. It means spring could possibly be here sometime, and that means without snow. Just saying.
Hey, listen, I like springtime too. I just happen to also like snow. Okay? Like
I'm okay. Like the snow we had the other day, fine with that. It was pretty. It came down. The parking lot was cleared like within 6 hours. Not because the landlord did anything about it, but because it's just that's the nature of February snows when it's 33 degrees outside. It's just not going to hang around. I'm not a fan of snow that stays for 26 consecutive days on my parking lot. That's what I'm not doing.
well, I don't think we'll have that again because we are getting up into February and March, and this is when we, like I said, we have the warmer snows, so they don't tend to stay around as much because it gets above freezing relatively quickly afterward. But yeah, no, BBN. This was a great episode. We said some things. I will stand on business with the things that I said. If there's a problem, please come talk to me. I do not care. Like
my opinion will not change about the things
my opinion stays the same no matter what. So yeah, again, Michelle, thank you for joining me.
And I said some things.
She's standing on business too, so
yeah, and just don't stand on the banana hammock.
Banana hammock.
So didn't you ever see that episode of Friends when Phoebe, they had a discussion when she got married about whether or not she would change her name, and they said that legally you don't have to, but you could change your name to anything you want. And she's like, oh, so I could be like Princess Consuelo Banana Hammock. And the thing was, she didn't know what banana hammock was.
Oh, Phoebe.
Oh, yeah. And so it came down to her husband's, well, I could just change my name to Crap Bag or something like that. And well, that's awful. And he goes, do you know what a banana hammock is? So she did not ultimately change her name to Banana Hammock, but that's...
Point still stands.
Yeah, the point
still stands.
And the swim team still wears them. So...
But yeah, so again, Michelle, thanks for joining me tonight. This is exciting. This is great times. And we have a lot of good games coming up and some other good sports that are starting up. So we're going to keep it rolling.
We will. So,
And
as always, it's go Big Blue, go Cats, and go Kroger.
go Cats.
Thanks for joining us on another episode of the Bleed Blue Network podcast. We hope you enjoyed diving deep into the world of Kentucky sports with us. Don't forget to stay connected by following us on Twitter at BleedBNation. Your feedback means the world to us. So take a moment to leave a review. Not only does it help us improve, but it also helps others discover the show. Until next time, keep cheering, keep listening, and keep bleeding blue.